Today, I'm going to walk you through how to host a class meeting using Webex Training. Not Webex Meetings or Webex Personal Rooms, but Webex Training. So the previous video talked you through how to set up a training and schedule it in advance. Once you've done that, you're going to go to the Canopy homepage at the time that your training is scheduled, and I usually log in at least 15 to 20 minutes before to help people out that might be having trouble logging in and to make sure everything is set up correctly and that I've opened up documents I want to share and that sort of thing with my students. And I select Faculty Webex on the Canopy homepage and sign in. And that sign in button is going to take me to Central Login, where I will log in, and then I will be in my Webex homepage. So you'll see my picture. I know I'm logged in, and what I'm going to do is go up here to my calendar or scroll down to these upcoming meetings. So I'm going to go to the test training, and I'm going to go ahead and start that session. So again, I can access it from here, from my little calendar of meetings that have been scheduled, and start it here, and you'll see that green training next to it. You'll know it's not a training if it does not have that green training next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and start that training. And when I start that training, it is going to open Webex down in my navigation panel for my computer. It's going to ask me how I want to log in, using my phone or using my computer for audio. I normally call in using my computer, and you can test your speaker or microphone ahead of time. I'm not going to be able to test that right now because I'm using my microphone for this recording that I'm doing for you. But then if you're having trouble with your computer audio, you can also use the phone, and that way it records your voice just like it would record it if you were using your computer, and you can share this with your students as well if they're having trouble with their audio. So I'm going to close that even though I haven't set up my audio. And if a student is having trouble and needs to switch audio during the meeting, they can go over here to audio and select that. It's going to open that panel back up again that I saw before. The session info tab up here will also give me that information to share with students. So students can access it from the session info, or they can select the audio button over here. So once I've logged in and I'm ready to go, you'll see that I am the panelist here because I have the little Webex ball. You'll see if I mouse over it, I can drag it to make someone else a presenter. So if I want someone else in my room to share their screen, so let's say I'm doing student presentations and I want to pass the ball to the student presenting, I would drag it to them down here. They would be able to share their screen the same way I do, and we would all see their screen, and it would be recorded if I'm recording the meeting. So once I have attendees in this meeting, what I normally do is draw their attention to the little participation icons here. So I always have students raise their hand to show me they can find that particular icon. You'll see my little hand went raised here. If you have attendees in this room, their hands will go up with a number in the middle of them to show you who raised their hand first. So I use this to allow students to ask questions during the session. And then I'll hit the eraser to clear those out. I can also ask quick polling questions in a training by asking students things like, is everyone able to hear my voice? Give me a green check mark if you can hear my voice. And they will all give me a green check mark. Or obviously if they don't hear me, they won't give me a green check mark or a red X, but it's a quick way for them to check whether they know where those buttons are. And then throughout the session, this is a great way to get students to continue to participate, much like you would do in a face-to-face classroom, where I can ask them a question. So how many of you found the readings particularly interesting this week? Give me a green check mark if you found them interesting, or a red X if you were struggling with the readings. And that way I can have them do that. There's also little icons here. They can applaud. They can tell me how they're feeling. And then I often will also have students put the coffee cup up if they take a break during our session, so I know they're not at their computer and I don't call on them. So this is a great way to get students to participate. When those hands are raised, what I'll normally do is say, okay, Sarah, you can go ahead and share your question. I'm going to unmute your microphone. There will be a little microphone icon right here when that audio is connected, and you will be able to mute and unmute their microphone just by clicking on it. So I'm going to lower that hand using my eraser button here. And then if I want to share something with my students, I can go to my drop down right here. I can share my desktop. I can share a file. And if you want to show a video, this is the only way to do that. So let's say I wanted to share a YouTube video during my class. I would need to download that YouTube video to my computer and then upload it to Webex for the audio to be shared. I can share a Word document, or I can share my browser, and this is the best way if you want to walk them through something on Canvas or Blackboard, or you want to walk them through something on a website, is to share the application. Sharing the application also prevents you from accidentally sharing something you may not want them to see that perhaps you forgot to close, like a grade center or your email. So once I've shared my application, once I have my attendees in there, and once they all know how to use these buttons, it is very easy to host a WebEx meeting with my students. Remember to drag the ball to allow someone else to present, pull the ball back when it is time for you to present again. And then you can also use this chat down here. So you'll notice I just condensed the chat. Now I'm going to expand it by selecting it. And this is a great way for students who may be too shy to speak on a recording or on a live WebEx session. This may be a great way for them to post a question or post a comment. I always ask them to send it to all participants so we can all see it. And if you're worried about managing the chat during a live session, you may want to have a student designated to be your chat monitor, and then they can let you know when someone posts in the chat or when there's an interesting question that you want to share with the class. So these are all, there's more tools than this in WebEx Training, but these are the basics that will get you started. And I would really encourage you to run a practice session before you do a session with your students. If you want to record your session while you are leading it so that students can watch it later who may not have been able to attend and complete an alternative assignment, all you have to do is select this record button up here. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to download that recording of your WebEx training and upload it back into Kaltura to share on Canvas or Blackboard. So go ahead and play around with some of these other buttons down here as well. There are some fancy polling tools you can use. There are some other settings you may want to pay attention to, but for right now, these are the basics that will get you started and help you engage your students in your live WebEx class session.